Hello and welcome to the last day of hustings for the Manchester SU officer elections. Voting will be opening on Monday the 8th of March at 10 a.m. I'm George, a member of Fuse TV, and this is the Activities Officer hustings. So far, we've heard from the candidates for General Secretary, International Officer, Women's Officer, Liberation and Access Officer, Education Officer, and Postgraduate Officer. You can watch all of these back on the Mancunians Facebook page and the SU's Facebook and YouTube channels. Joining me today are 4 of the 5 candidates for the postgraduate officer position. We've got Christian Savas, Liam Harry McCabe, Oscar Thorpe, Peter Leslie, and finally Camilla Florencia Russell was unable to attend live due to technical issues, but she has pre-recorded her speech and answers to be played during the stream. And also, don't forget that you can read all of the candidates' full manifestos on the SU website. With hundreds of societies and loads of student-led events every year, this role has the unique opportunity to collaborate with the thousands of students who make Manchester such an exciting place to live and study. The Activities and Development Officer is the lead officer cheering on student-led activity and student personal development in the SU. They also lead on the SU sustainability plans and environmental campaigning. To begin, each candidate will have 2 minutes to give an introductory speech about themselves and their manifestos. When their 2 minutes are up, I'll raise my hand to indicate that they should finish at the end of their sentence. Yeah, so keep an eye out. So let's start with Christian Savas.
Hello everyone, I am Christian Savas and I am a first-year student at the university. I am studying chemical engineering with integrated foundation year. I am an outgoing person, I am an extrovert and also an athlete, as I've been representing my club on a national level for the past 6 years. I am all about having fun and sharing exciting times. And I feel that politics are what divide the people and activities are what unite them. One of my priorities is to create activities for everyone. And I don't want to exclude anyone. I have some experience in that, as I used to be a volunteer at the Lebanese Red Cross, and we used to create events and activities in order to raise funds for the community. I know that Manchester has a lot of ethnicities, types of people, and international students, and I want to focus on uniting the people. Even though I am the youngest, probably, and I haven't really got the chance to spend a semester at uni, as I have been studying remotely in September, I feel like I am the underdog in this situation, and since our choices really define who we are, I hope that this shows how much I really want this post. I know what I want, and I hope that when I will know what the other students want, I will be able to make an offer that they can't refuse. Please read my manifesto to make sure of everything that I'm saying this to.
Right, thank you, Christian. So let's move on to Liam now.
So, hi, my name's Liam. I'm a second-year politics and international relations student. If you've read my manifesto, last year I ran for the role of treasurer in the RA JCR committee at Liberty Park, or you may now know it as Brook Hall, and I was successfully elected by my fellow students. When I was working in the committee, we held a range of different events for all different reasons, and after seeing that student satisfaction levels were so high, I realised that the importance of activities for university students as a method to relieve stress during times of heavy workload and to maximise enjoyment and positive experience of university life. Ultimately, this inspired me to run for this role, and why I felt that this role would suit me best. As we are hopefully coming out of this lengthy pandemic, I know students will have missed out on many valuable opportunities to meet and engage with fellow students, and the months have been dull for a lot of us, and it's why we student-oriented activities in the next academic year. The pandemic as well has shown us the environmental benefits of reduced emissions, and I feel like we could make new targets to sustain our environmental cleanliness. We could launch new initiatives to work and engage with students to help promote environmentalism and wildlife protection to other students and students of a lower age, for example, in local primary schools and secondary schools. And in addition, we need to be students to help us keep to our zero carbon target by 2038 and single-use plastic free by next year, so that we can make the university a more sustainable place.
All right, thank you, Liam. So if we could run Camilla's pre-record.
Hi, my name's Camilla Florence-Urusal and I'm running to be your Activities and Development Officer in this year's SU elections. I'm running because, like you, I've been massively disappointed and frustrated by the decrease in quality of events on campus this year, and something needs to change. The SU urgently needs to adapt to our increasingly digital landscape by setting up new opportunities, but also it's about time they started asking, what do we do when restrictions are eased? I plan on setting up a fully funded infrastructure to restore and promote student activities once things start to improve. I have 4 main pledges. Number 1, widening participation by removing financial barriers to extracurricular activities. Number 2, promoting and supporting student activities and initiatives. Number 3, improve personal development and career opportunities. And number 4, a sustainable SU. You can read my manifesto to get the further outline of what my specific plans are to achieve all of these things. But for the time being, I'd just like to say something quickly about how this year, if anything, has taught us that student voices matter more than ever. I've been absolutely shocked over my campaigning week so far to hear that many societies currently don't even know or have had contact with their current Activities and Development Officer, and this massively needs to change. If I am to be elected by your votes, I want to be the middleman between you and the university. I will hold them accountable, I will listen to what you want, I will listen to the resources, the funding, the opportunities and the training that you are all asking for, and address your concerns. And together, by working closely and basically being what this role should really be about, a student representative, I think that things can change on campus.
Cool, so let's move on to Christians. Oh, sorry, that's my that's my bad. Sorry about that. Now it's time for some questions submitted by the student body. Each candidate will have 30 seconds to answer, and then after those 30 seconds, I'm going to raise my hand, and that will indicate that it's time to finish their sentence and wrap up. The first question is, what's one area of key area of activity?
I think Oscar hasn't done their speech yet.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, sorry, Oscar.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Thanks, George. It's all right. The students of Manchester have been let down by the university and by the government. For months, we've been treated like cash cows, paying full tuition and rent for a disappointing online experience. In the midst of a student mental health crisis, the university has removed no disadvantage policies while issuing condescending and insulting mental health advice. Students on campus have been illegally targeted by police, racially profiled by security, and enclosed by fences. It's clear that we need a radical change. Alongside this election, you're voting in a historic referendum on whether our Vice-Chancellor should resign. The vote is non-binding, so no matter what, we have to continue the campaign for a democratic university that isn't run by a lying Vice-Chancellor on a $250,000 salary who refuses to meet with students. While the blame for the UK's COVID crisis lies with the government, the university has failed to support us, especially our international students. Senior leadership failed to provide food delivery slots for self-isolating students, leaving many scrambling for food. Without any meaningful financial support, there have been stories of students having to use food banks to survive. Our university has failed to even make sure students haven't gone hungry. They must resign, and I will campaign for our university to be democratized so that decisions are made by students and staff, for students and staff. This is the only way we can guarantee that our next Vice-Chancellor isn't just as bad as Nancy Rothwell. The historic rent reduction and limited academic support that we won this year only came because of occupations and protests by student groups like Rent Strike, Safer and 9K for What. It was them who were organising legal aid for students fined £800 for being in their own common room, not the Students' Union. The Activities and Development Officer is responsible for student organising. So if elected, I will mobilise the union's training, financial and communication resources to support student organisers and all societies whilst developing the student movement. If we want to see things like scrapping or reducing tuition fees across the board, we have to organise and push for change across our university, our city and the whole country. Manchester students are rightfully angry because we need change. Vote Oscar for Activities and Development Officer.
All right, thank you, Oscar. And Peter. Peter?
Not off mute, there we go. Sorry about that. Hi,
That's
I'm
all
Peter
right.
Leslie, and I'm running for Activities and Development Officer. I'm currently a third-year student studying geology and geography, and I've been on a society committee for the past 2 years. In that time, I've seen firsthand the disjointed relationship between societies and the SU, and for this reason, along with my fond attachment to the university and the want for younger aspiring students here to have a better experience at Manchester, I've decided to run for this role. I have 5 main pledges that I believe I can deliver. Firstly, bringing back varsity. With the biggest student population of any same city varsity in the UK, it's a travesty that we don't currently have a varsity. We should be having the largest and most successful varsity in England. Secondly, I want to introduce a worldwide graduate job service to the university, allowing for our large cohort of international students, as well as UK students, to seek graduate jobs outside the UK after they've finished their studies here. Next, I'd like to increase equipment budgets to societies. Sports societies currently receive a £50,000 slice of the 500 million the university receive in tuition fees and education contracts each year. That's 0.01%, and it's even less for non-sports societies that have to go to fund it meetings. I think this is in serious need of a review. I'm also going to promote student talent through pushing for a more competitive scholarship programme and offer more university facilities to creatively talented students in the form of student music run nights within the 4 academies that we own, as well as a half a dozen bars on the university campuses. My final pledge will be introducing a student-led tutoring service, where students offer their services to other students. I think this will be key for the new freshers who could be coming to university on 2 years' worth of predicted grades and may have some self-doubt and anxiety as to whether they're up to university standard. This extra support will be a great addition for them, as well as all students. Thanks, and vote Leslie for an active tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Peter. So now it's time for some questions submitted by the student body. Some really persuasive speeches there. Each candidate will have 30 seconds to answer, after which I'm going to raise my hand again to indicate that it's time to finish the sentence and wrap up. So the first question is, what is one key area of activities and development that you feel requires improvement? And what are your ideas for tackling this? So we're going to start off with Peter. We're going to start off
one
with
key area. Pardon? Start off with me, yeah?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, okay. One key area, I think you could either go activities or development way. I'll side with development for this question. I think there is a lack of employability or careers focused support from the university. I mean, anyone looking at graduate jobs now, and they're not going for the university careers page, they're looking at prospects.ac.uk, Indeed, looking elsewhere externally, where I feel the support from the university could be enhanced massively.
Yeah, all right, thank you for that. So next, Oscar, if you could answer the same question.
Well, it's student organising. It's too difficult for us to organise as students at the moment. There's lots of hoops you have to jump through to make a society. Other candidates have raised some excellent points about that. And that will be my focus, is just make it as easy as possible for students to organise together, to get access to the union's resources. And as I said, through that, we'll be able to, one, organise societies more easily, with less stress on academic pressure for students. And secondly, we'll be able to campaign a lot more, and we'll actually be able to push some serious change in our university and much further afield if we work with other universities too.
All right, thank you, Oscar. Okay, so next up, we're gonna Christian, if you could answer the same question.
Yeah. Even though I'm here to campaign and create activities for everyone, I feel like sports should be more, should have a better reputation in Manchester. We should create like leagues, and universities should compete against each other, and because sports is something really essential, and I feel like it has really been demonetized since COVID-19.
Okay, yeah. So now, Liam, if you could answer that, please.
Peter, in terms of job prospects, because after we're moving out of the pandemic, and it's going to be quite hard to find postgraduate jobs. And that's the thing, we need students in employability to keep up the impressive record that the university actually has. But I think, you know, it could decline because of these lack of job opportunities. So if we get students to see new prospects in, you know, big career events, then maybe we'll keep this employability rate up.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to play Camilla's voice recorded answer to that.
I think one of the biggest failures within the SU this year has been the fact that students have struggled to find or to promote new opportunities available on campus. And there have been so many missed opportunities. For example, the SU's What's On page is not a full catalogue of all the available opportunities on campus. The SU newsletter should be used for societies, volunteers and campaigners to promote what's on. There should be more social media takeovers. There are so many places where we could be promoting what's going on, and it's just not happening currently.
Okay, cool. So the next question is, students have missed out on so many aspects of the full university experience during the pandemic. If the worst case scenario occurs and social distancing measures are needed next academic year, what ideas do you have for encouraging participation in student activities, such as events, societies, and volunteering? So we're going to start off with Liam.
So we could have an online aspect, so stuff like, you know, online quizzes, for example, just a little thing to engage students. But in terms of social distance activities, there are a lot of things you can do. There's still sports that people can play, and still like musical activities, for example. As long as we keep adhering to these restrictions, which hopefully we won't have, there's still a broad range of activities that we could explore, and I don't think it will hinder us too badly.
All right, cool. Thank you for that, Liam. Now, Christian, if you could answer that.
Yes, I'm a first-year student, and I have experienced the campus life, and this is what probably made me run for this post. We should at least have, like, as new students, some meet and greets on Zoom, and it should have been really easier for us to integrate some societies. And in case some students are already in Manchester, they could have met outdoors using masks and all in a much easier way.
Cool, thanks for that. So now if we could move on to Peter.
Yeah, I think what Christian said was great.
Before you begin, can I ask that you turn your camera off to try and get your audio to be a bit less broken up, just so we can hear you a little bit better?
Is that me? Right?
Yeah, would you be able to turn your camera off? I think it might help your audio. It's just breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so what Christian said, for the first years, I think there should have been much more opportunity to integrate online. But I also believe a lot of people are getting fed up with the online quizzes, etc. And with these new government lockdown easings, hopefully that'll open up inside spaces, etc. for societies that previously haven't been able to do stuff this semester, such as comedy club, such as darts, such as pool and snooker. And I think they will adhere to the 2 metre guidelines if it's still in place.
All right, thank you. So, Oscar.
Hi. Well, yeah, the SU can do a lot more to support societies online. For example, running things like training to help societies know how to best utilize social media for organizing. But I think it's really important to remember that if we have social distance restrictions on still in September, that's because of a government that's opened up way too soon and they've prioritized short-term profit over our lives. And this is just another example of how that's happened in our country. Yeah.
Thank you. So let's play Camilla's pre-record.
As I've said on my manifesto, I want to work super closely with the Careers Service in order to develop handbooks for society members, volunteers and campaigners on campus, because I don't think the increasingly digital landscape should put anyone at a disadvantage. Last year we weren't prepared, but there is no excuse now to not upskill our students, not just because of the career prospects of being able to say like, I did all these fundraising events even though things were all online, but it's more important than ever to make sure that our student community is connected.
Yeah, thank you for those really good answers. So this next one is quite a heavy one, so don't worry if you're not an expert on it. So Gavin Williamson, the UK Education Secretary, he's recently pushed forward some new and highly debated policies which supposedly protect free speech. These policies would allow universities to be taken to court if they're seen to be no platforming or preventing a speaker from having a platform at a university event because they hold views that some might find offensive. The new government guide states, everyone has the right to express and receive views and opinions, including those that may offend, shock, or disturb others. So, considering this, where should the SU draw the line on free speech at their events? So let's start off with Oscar.
I think the SU draws quite a good line already. There have been very few speakers cancelled in Manchester Student Union, and actually across the country. It's a bit of a false flag issue of the government just trying to stoke culture wars. This is the same government that banned teaching from any anti-capitalist material at secondary school. So they're not the ones that can talk about freedom of speech or suppressing ideas at all.
Okay, so let's move on to Christian, please.
As I said, politics are what divide the people and the activities should unite them. I come from a country where we don't even have liberty of speech. So I think that the student union is just doing bits and really great stuff and letting like the students give their opinion on everything related to government stuff and new laws.
Thank you. And Peter.
I wouldn't like to define a line for what can be said and what can't be said, because I think it's a very sensitive issue, but I encourage opinions to be said at uni because it's a great place for debate. It's where students come to learn other opinions, other views, and spark debates.
Cool. And Liam?
Well, I believe that everyone should be allowed their own opinion, but I think the students are sensible enough not to bring really extreme debates into it. And obviously, like in the past of the student union, we thankfully haven't had these extremist views on campus, really. So I trust the students to be aware of what people might find disturbing or offensive and, really keep other students in mind.
Cool, thanks. So let's play Camilla's pre-record.
Though freedom of speech is a highly contested topic, I don't think it has to be that complicated in terms of where the SU stands on it. Students come first. That means that no student on campus should feel like they can't express their opinions or challenge authority, as we've seen with the amazing Nancy Out campaign this year. But at the same time, the university has a responsibility to protect the freedom of speech from being abused by people who could be co-opting it for hateful rhetorics. And that is a tricky line to walk, but it's the university's responsibility to promote freedom of speech, but also protect their students.
Yeah, that was a heavy one. So well done for your answers there. Next question. So SU policy issues and negligence mean that some student-run societies have been dying and declining for years now, and for many, COVID will be the death of them entirely. Students feel that societies need more money and resources, and not just the platitudes and the discriminant pennies from Fund It. What material support will candidates pledge to assist our student-run societies? So let's start off with Peter.
Was that last bit of the question? Could you repeat the last bit of that question,
of course.
please?
What material support will candidates pledge to assist our student-run societies?
And what do you mean by material?
Students are worried that they're maybe not getting enough funding and it's causing societies to slowly die off, and COVID's also caused an issue with societies feeling like they're slowly dwindling. So this student who submitted the question was wondering what kinds of financial support, what ideas do you have for societies that are really starting to feel like they're fading away?
Yeah. No, I completely understand that question. I'm currently in a society that's looking very bleak for next year, with one current member staying at university. Hopefully we could review some of the where the money is going currently within the university and maybe put some towards that. But if not, British government organisations, that's a lot of support. I'm sure they'll be willing to inject some cash into one of the biggest universities in the UK, if not, or if you can take it to sponsorships of specific societies.
All right, thank you, Peter. So, Christian, what's your answer to this?
Yes, funding should be received by obviously the government, and in case they can't, we could always pledge to make events and create so many activities, because all societies are important. And as I said, Manchester has a lot of people and a lot of types of people, ethnicities, and it must be convenable to each and single one of them.
Cool, thanks. And Liam?
I'm going to be ambitious and say that I think I should, if I was given the role, lobby the university to lobby the government in terms of to receive more funding for societies. But I think we are owed a good time after 12 months of being in lockdown and nothing really to do. It's impacted millions of students' mental health all across the country and thousands in Manchester. So I think we need this funding. We need to get societies up and going again and give the students what they deserve.
Yeah, thank you. And Oscar?
There's no doubt that after COVID, finances are going to be very tricky, but hopefully with the resignation of Nancy Rothwell, we might be able to see more money coming from the university to the SU and funding societies. We have to remember that the Students' Union has a really large revenue that's larger than Manchester United and Manchester City. I think we can do more things for free as well, with an emphasis on training. And finally, if it really comes to it, I'll be willing to take a pay cut, because the SU execs are paid about 18 grand a year, and I think we could live off less.
Okay, thank you. And let's play Camilla's pre-recorded answer.
If your society wants more funding, resources and guidance, then I'm absolutely the candidate that you should be voting for. I don't just have empty promises, I have a fully laid out plan for a brand new funded infrastructure to support and restore student activities, such as my brand new events bursary, so you can pitch an event to the SU, we'll fund any extra costs, so you can be able to say, I did that. Aside from that, there is also the Try Before You Buy scheme to widen participation and remove the financial barriers of participation, and booking spaces across campus, including the academies.
Cool, thank you for your answers on those. So I also wanted to ask what the one aspect of your manifesto is that you're most excited to work on if you get elected. So let's start off with Liam.
My environmental aspect of it, because it's something I feel really passionate about. I'm really into environmental politics, and I think that's the future. It's not just our future, it's the future of people who will be attending the University of Manchester in 5, 10, 15 years' time. It's for people all over the world, and we need to start being sustainable now in order to protect our future. Otherwise, we're not really going to have a very bright one.
Thank you, and let's move on to Oscar.
It's helping to build the student movement. We've had incredible successes this year with Rent Strike and Safer and others. And this movement is spread across the country. We are now, for the student movement, this is the most active it's been since 2010 when we had the tuition fee strikes. And I want to play my part. I want to organize within our university and across others to build a big movement and something that can actually see some change, because it is coming if we do it right and if we organize properly.
Cool. And Christian?
I want to help, if I'm elected, I want to help promote every societies and probably link them to others. Like I want to link them between each other and to other societies, and because societies like represent people and who they are.
Cool. And Peter, could we get your...
Yeah, the thing I'd most be looking forward to is trying to bring back varsity. I think there's thousands of students who are desperate for that competition against Manchester Met, and it will bring such a great community team ethos back to the university after a year of COVID where there's not been too much competitive sport going on. And to bring that back for a week, I think it'll look great for the university as a successful light on students who've also been tarnished this year with the reputation of breaking COVID rules, and it will just bring such a buzz to the university.
All right, thank you. And let's play Camilla's pre-recorded answer to this question.
My favourite pledge on my manifesto is the brand new events bursary that I've put forward for societies to pitch an event to the SU and get the funds to be able to put it on safely and professionally. So all the talent that is on campus currently would have the financial ability to put on these amazing events, be able to say we did that. And also, as a side note, the Try Before You Buy scheme as well for societies, allowing people to join as many and any society for 2 weeks before committing to a membership.
Yeah, so that was it. So I wanted to thank you all for taking part today. Really nice answers to all of those questions. And you can find the full manifestos of the candidates on manchesterstudentsunion.com/elections. That's manchesterstudentsunion.com/elections /. So next up is the final hustings of the week for the role of welfare and community officer. Make sure you tune in live on Facebook and YouTube. So voting for full-time and part-time officer roles, NUS reps, and the senior leadership referendum opens at 10 a.m. on Monday, the 8th of March. Again, that's 10 a.m. on Monday, the 8th of March. So don't miss the chance to have your say. So thank you for everyone for participating. Appreciate it.